Hey, what's up, Mental Health Nation? I'm always having a great Monday before. Today's Monday. I always forget what day it is. I do that all the time on mental health breaks. But hey, it's Cliff here, your mental health warrior along with Pacific Tea to Lynn. Lynn, how are you doing? I'm glad the hurricane missed you. You're safe. But I know you've had some family or some friends that have been devastated by the hurricane, and we can jump into that and wish them well and prayers and stuff for everybody affected by the hurricane. And we'll do all that. Let's get through all the beginning stuff that we have to do at the beginning of the show. So with that, the upper left-hand corner is Reads Across America Radio, Reads Across America QR code. You can scan that to donate for Reads Across America to ensure that wreaths are placed on the veterans, gravesite during the holiday seasons. Great program. I'm super happy to be a part of them, along with 10th Mountain, and then the Veterans Mortgages, and then what's the other one? To Paradise. The other QR code down there, you can scan that and learn all about that. And I apologize, I just had a complete brain fart. But PCS to Paradise. Oh, that's real estate, isn't it? I think maybe, I don't know. But hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It was going to kind of be a lighthearted show, but that might change with everything going on with hurricane stuff. But with that, still have my book available, The Mental Health Warrior. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it. Pull back, go forward. There we go. Anyway, it's still available on the website. Still have a discount at $15.99 plus shipping and handling. I'll personally sign and get it sent out to you as quick as possible. The podcast tonight was going to be talking about, the importance of laughter and the importance of, kind of being a little bit lighthearted when you're going through recovery or when you're going through something hard or difficult in your life. And I think it's an important topic, especially with everything going on now. But before we jump into that, Lynn, let's get an update on you and what's going on, and prayers out to your friends that, I know we talked before this show that they've been pretty devastated with the hurricane that hit, Georgia and North Carolina. I saw the videos here in Italy. It's absolutely horrifying to see that whole town's completely gone.
Yeah,
Gone.
so Thursday, Hurricane Helene made landfall. The eye of the storm made landfall in Florida as a Category 4. And so originally, I didn't think the storm was going to be that big to span over to the East Coast. But the way that the storm happened, it just grew bigger and bigger. So it landed as a Category 4. So most of the west coast of Florida is completely devastated. Like, especially if you were on the water, they ended up underwater. I know Pinellas County, that's like by Tampa, and then the counties like Cedar Key, Florida, and then up there like by the corner of Florida, definitely devastated and hit. Well, I thought the storm was projected to go straight up through
and
through
turn and go
that
up
way,
towards
and then
Illinois. Yeah.
and then turn that way. However, it kind of went to the right a little bit. So we got the outer bands here in northeast Florida, and it was a tropical storm, but really it was just the tropical storm force winds, because we didn't get much rain. So we had tornadoes, tons of tornadoes. I have a really, really big trampoline, 16-foot trampoline, that I didn't think the storm was going to come this way. So I didn't like prepare, and that's like my fault. Like, but I did put bricks on the trampoline. And people always say, turn your trampoline upside down. I don't have one of those that you can turn upside down, because it has poles on it. Then it has a net around that. So I can't just turn it upside down. So I got all my furniture out. I got all the pool toys out. But the trampoline, I kept it there. So we had like a small tornado and like really, really, really heavy winds. So the winds literally picked up this trampoline off of the bricks, and it to my next door neighbor's house and landed right side up. And so my neighbor called to me right away. They're like, Lynn, I heard something in the backyard. It was really, really loud, banging up against our eave and soffit and fascia in the backyard. And sure enough, it was my big old trampoline back there. And it's funny because it could have landed in her pool, and it didn't. It landed on the side.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's so crazy. And it was probably, I want to say, like 11 o'clock at night when this happened. So I told her, we'll come by tomorrow, after the storm has passed, and assess the damage and all that. Luckily, we didn't have too much damage here, but I know even in Jacksonville, there was over a thousand people without power because of the wind was so heavy. And
Yeah.
I watched one of the transformers like blow in our neighborhood. So
Mhm.
luckily, like I still had power. Like I was one of the lucky ones, but our power was flickering in and out the entire night. And some like I had friends just a mile away where they lost all power. And one of my friends in Jack's Beach, literally a mile away, all their windows blew out.
Oh,
It
wow.
because the wind was that strong and they only had like single pane windows. So, and then inland there was more damage, a lot of flooding everywhere. And I know it's then Hurricane Helene passed Florida and it went up to Georgia. So Waycross, Georgia is like literally on the line of Florida and Georgia, and
Mhm.
they have absolutely nothing. Like it literally pummeled the entire town. So they're without power, the entire city. So a lot of if you're in Florida or South Georgia, and if you know anyone with food trucks, they're asking people with food trucks to go up there to provide the people with food. So I know that's probably like 3 or 4 hours, 3 hours or something like that from me. But Waycross, Georgia, they're completely without power, without food, without anything. Um, I know it traveled up through Georgia, through Atlanta. It went through Tennessee. One of the dams failed because of all the water. So
Oh, yeah.
it was about 30 inches of rainfall, up to 30 inches of rainfall in Tennessee. So one of the dams failed. It flooded the entire surrounding towns. So people were on top of a hospital. I remember watching this in the news. People on top of a
Yeah.
hospital waiting for rescue crews. I know in North Carolina, I have a couple of friends out of Asheville. So this is
Yeah.
by Chimney Rock, and that entire place just flooded around the Blue Ridge Mountains, flooded.
Oh,
Devastation. I have
yeah.
a friend, Air Force veteran. Shout out to Beth Angel. I'm so sorry, but she lost everything. The literally floodwaters were up like 30, like 30 inches, but like 10 feet. Like you could see the flood line. So the devastation is really bad. It's pretty up there. There's 100 fatalities within the 500 miles and still hundreds of people missing. So this
Yeah.
has been a catastrophic storm. I'm very thankful that I got out safe from that. I mean, I have my gate is damaged. I have to
Yeah.
rebuild that, but it's nothing compared to the devastation
Yeah.
all around the rest of United States. So if you're nearby and you're listening and you can help people, or you can donate your time. Like a lot of people are looking for people to help with cleanup. They need
Yeah.
subcontractors. They need people to help with draining the water out of their houses. Like there's so much work to do, so much rebuild that needs to happen. And especially here in Florida, we just got over Hurricane Ian, which was in 2022, which was
Oh,
Category
yeah.
5. So we're still recovering from that, and now there's this storm, and now there's another storm brewing.
Oh, wow.
So so many people ask, why do you continue to live in Florida when you know these storms hit? Well, at least I know that they're gonna hit. I'm in Florida where we're used to hurricanes. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm in like Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina. They're not used to this. They
No,
didn't
not that far inland. I mean,
know.
Ashland's landlocked. People don't realize that. It's not even on the coast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
It's up in the mountains and stuff like that. So yeah, that was completely devastating. And if you see the photos of the towns and stuff and the flooding and everything that went on, I mean, of course, growing up in Missouri, we'd have bad storms and come through, and you always had flash flooding going on. But this is like apocalyptic type flash flooding going on. I mean, it's crazy when you see the
it's
videos. And of course,
reminiscent of Hurricane Katrina back in
yeah,
2005. So the
yeah,
Hurricane Katrina was like in November, I want to say, or somewhere around there, maybe August. Anyway, hurricane season 2005. Katrina hit Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, I think. So
yeah. A lot of people,
very
New
reminiscent
Orleans
of
got
that.
a lot of the attention, just because New Orleans is in a bowl, it's in a flood bowl, and
Right.
if
Yeah.
the pump
Below.
fell, it's going to flood. I mean, it's inside of a bowl. It makes sense.
Mhm.
And the levees fell. But, Mississippi took the main hit from that storm. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
With Katrina, Mississippi took that out of the storm. And
They took
New
a really
Orleans is on the outer bands of it. The devastation in Mississippi was just incredible.
but I
It was
think
just,
So like yeah, everyone overlooks Mississippi, but a lot of the impact happened in the metropolitan of New Orleans. That's where majority of the deaths and all that stuff happened. All the levees failed,
Yeah.
all that. So I know that there's people who still remember when that happened. And so in the South, it's funny because when we use our timelines, we're like, oh, this was before Katrina or after Katrina. So now we're like, oh, this is gonna be before Ian or after Hurricane Helene. So this last one is Hurricane Helene. So people are going to be talking about this for quite a while. It's going to be like one of those milestones, like, oh, you remember it was after Helene, Hurricane Helene. So that's how
Yeah.
we like do our timelines in the South. We talk about like the hurricane name.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne just said that Chimney Rock is destroyed exactly on people in these areas beyond caught off guard versus Florida residents. And that's true. I mean, if you're inland and you're not used to, preparing for a hurricane, you're not used to it. And a lot of these, the way the storm tracked wasn't the way they were predicting it to track. Just
No.
like you were saying earlier, Lynn, it went completely different. And so a lot of these
And it got
residents were completely
huge.
caught off guard and couldn't prepare for it.
I was expecting Cat 2. And so Cat 2, I'm like, okay, we got this. I've been through Cat 2, like I'm good. And so a lot of
Mhm.
people like underestimated the storm. And I think the news, I mean, they did a great job, but they could have done better. I've seen people who do meteorology for a hobby online. Like
Mhm.
there's this guy, a meteorologist guy who does it for a hobby, and his predictions were way more accurate than
Mhm.
the news did. So I'm gonna listen to those guys now. But yeah, Chimney Rock, like I literally went on spring break. I want to say in 22 in Chimney Rock, and we have photos of the street and photos beyond Chimney Rock, and they have like a blue bridge or something there. It's all completely pummeled. There's nothing left. I think there's like
Yeah, it's
one
gone.
store that's left, and then the street is completely covered in debris
Yeah,
and dust and everything. It's completely devastated. It's horrendous. I've
yeah,
seen videos on TikToks. I've seen my own friends' accounts in Asheville where it's like they're on a river.
yeah,
Like it's not even you don't even see any streets anymore. it's
yeah,
it's terrible. There's Gulf Coast Highway on in the panhandle of Florida. The street, it looks like a beach. Like where is the
yeah.
street at? So it's just everywhere,
Well,
spanning
and I didn't,
500 miles.
of course, being here in Italy, I didn't, of course, I read it on X and TikTok and things and see the damage, but I didn't realize, Florida had taken so much damage.
Oh
Because
yeah.
really, they're talking about Georgia and North Carolina going up in the Appalachian.
There's a
Um,
couple like ladies on TikTok in Florida where they were showing how people's first floors were completely flooded, and like they were on the coast. Like, and if you were on the coast, you were supposed to evacuate, right? They
yeah,
gave you they gave you a mandatory evacuation.
yeah,
And so it was so devastating that if you didn't evacuate, the sheriff was saying, it was going all around Facebook, like if you don't evacuate, you need to write your first name, last name, and birthday on your arms and your legs so that they can
yeah.
identify your body.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I
it's
mean, you
like
always
that.
have those people, right? They don't evacuate, they don't listen, they don't go on. But hey, let's hope. A lot of private donations are rolling into the areas. A lot of citizens are stepping up. It's a crying shame that FEMA is not doing more what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm not going to get political with that, but that's absolutely BS. That they're not doing what we pay our tax dollars for them to do, to go in those areas and be helping. But thank God that the American citizens and companies out there and others are flying in millions of dollars supplies and getting those supplies in there to those people who desperately need it. Please continue that. I know Elon Musk is trying to get Starlink out there, and they got some areas up there with the Starlink to try to get people at least connected, so at least they call and get some type of help.
Yeah.
But it's devastating. It's going to
They
take
don't
at
have
least
power. They don't have any
yeah,
power. So, how and on FEMA to request a voucher, you got to go online. How am I gonna go
yeah,
online if I have
ridiculous,
no power? I can't.
ridiculous.
I can't charge my
Right,
phone.
ridiculous.
My
Yeah,
car's completely underwater. Like, how am I
yeah,
gonna do that? And it's just not enough resources to span 500 miles worth of devastation. Like, it's
oh yeah,
just so much. 400,000 people without power right now.
yeah.
It's
It's
terrible
crazy.
in North Carolina alone.
Yeah.
So
And then on top of that, starting tomorrow, the ports are going on strike. I don't know if you
yeah,
heard about that. The 1 October, the ports, they're going to start picketing. That's going to shut down everything in about 2 weeks. it's going to get even worse. And so thoughts and prayers out to everybody, and I hope they get that resolved and keep the contracts going. I know that's been in the works for a long time, but it looks like they're going to go on strike. And then, of course, in Georgia, you had the chemical plant that exploded. And so right now in America, there's just a lot of things going on. And so please, we've been saying this for months, make sure you have those supplies, make sure you have at least 90 days of food and water and other stuff around you. Of course, that doesn't help the people that are devastated now, but it's always good to be prepared. And just for these cases like this, when something does happen, at least you have the availability of stuff. Now, obviously, with flash floods and all that other stuff, it's completely different. There's no way to prepare for that, but you can do as much as you can. But devastating news out there. Thoughts and prayers to everybody, and it's going to be a long, rough, probably another week or so before they're able to at least start getting stuff out there and get things more organized. As being in the National Guard and we responding to natural disasters, because that's what we do. That's our job. Part of the Guard. And you just try to get in and do as much as you can. I don't know why they're being a little hamstring right now, because it doesn't make sense to me, because in the Guard for a lot of years. But also with, like you said, Lynn, it's just a large area. You got rural areas that are affected. It's not like big city centers, urban areas. And so it's just going to take a lot longer to get those resources out to those people. But private citizens with helicopters are flying stuff in, and people are doing the best job they can to try to get help. And so if you're one of those persons that are stuck out there, thoughts and prayers to you. And just know that help will eventually get there and get to you. So with that, it's hard. I was going to talk about, laughter today and the importance of laughter with your mental health recovery and things like that. And of course, we talked about the hurricane and everything going on. It doesn't seem, really appropriate to really talk about that. But I think it's kind of important too, because as things start getting back to normal and stuff, and you look back at things, at some point, laughter is going to return, and you're going to want to smile again and think about stuff. And it's all about recovery. So whether you're recovering from a natural disaster, whether you're recovering from mental health issues, PTSD issues, a trauma in your life, or anything, laughter and smiling can always have such a positive, profound effect on you, even in the worst of times. And there's a lot of studies that go back to that. And it's not to make light of the situation that's going on. It has nothing to do with that. It has more to do with, when you're in your moment and when you're in this moment and this now. And you know what it is. If you're feeling a little depressed in a day, or some things aren't going right, and all of a sudden something makes you laugh, if you're watching, TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you look at a funny movie or something, and it kind of makes you chuckle, you kind of feel kind of funny. And so something funny happened to me today. It was on my mental health break. And so if you didn't watch that, I sent the video to Chris kind of late, so we're going to try to cue the video up if it works. If it doesn't work, go watch my mental health break today out on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. But it is kind of funny. Chris, did we get that video to work or not? It's about 50 seconds. So just watch it. It's kind of funny.
Hey, it's your mental health break with Cliff. I had a great weekend. Hey, my weekend was good. I worked, tired, sleepy, didn't want to work out, stupid stuff. But hey, this week we're going to focus on laughter, because sometimes we forget the power of just smiling and laughing and just being silly can have on your mental health. And we forget that sometimes. It's easy to do. So if you get a coworker or that one person that's always cracking up or making you laugh, or just see, that's why you don't walk and make videos. Anyway, I'm going to end it now. It's been your mental health break with Cliff. Have a great and wonderful Monday.
So I was out. I didn't feel like running today, but I went for a walk. And there's a baseball field down where I walk. I go around because I have a 3-mile loop that I do. Anyway, between the road and the field, there's like a little divot, like a little U thing. And as I was making the video and talking, I stepped into that, and that's what made me stumble and fall. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, that's why
you know what they say about laughter, that it's the best medicine. Laughter is the best medicine, and it boosts your mood. And so whenever like people ask me, "Oh, Len, what's your hobbies? What's your favorite things to do?" And you know what I actually tell them? I tell them, "Oh, I like to drink and laugh." Like, and if we can't laugh together, I don't think we can hang out. We can't be friends.
Oh yeah.
I think like that's super important. Like, especially when you're amongst friends, you talk and you laugh. So
yeah. You know what veterans do when we get together, right? We stand around, we poke fun at each other. We don't be triggered by, we're not being triggered pansies. We make fun of each other and we laugh and we joke around and just enjoy life for a moment. I mean, it's just like my video today. I watched that and I thought about editing out or redoing the video of me tripping because it was kind of stupid and silly. But I decided not to do it. It just happened. Nobody was around to see it but me, so that was kind of thankful. But silly things happen to me all the time. But I just thought it just kind of went with the flow of the day, right? I guess with me tripping.
Right. I remember one time my sister goes, "Oh, I want to go to this party, but I'm so tired from working." And I said, "Well, what are you gonna miss out on? Drinking and laughing?" I said, I said, "You can drink and laugh at home." She goes, "You're right. That's all we do is drink and laugh." I said, "Exactly."
Yeah.
That also brings me to Irreverent Warriors, right? So our mission is.
Oh yeah, you laugh a lot at Irreverent Warriors.
Together.
I can attest to that.
We bring veterans together using humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. So humor is a big part of the mission because we have our own ways of how we deal with stuff. Normally, it's a lot of dark humor and a lot of sarcasm. So.
Well, and I think that's what makes it fun, right? I did the one up in Treste, and we did about almost a 10-mile hike. It was 9.9 miles. Just to take on. But I mean, it went by so fast you didn't even realize that. I mean, because of course you're stopping and you're visiting, and they set up such a great hike, and then we stopped for lunch and everything. You just don't realize that you even walked that far. I mean, it's so much funny and just talking with the different people and getting to know the different walks of life and why you're in Italy. You're visiting, and of course a lot of people for the hike here had horrendous travel problems, massive delays, and planes breaking down and it was just one thing after another. I think there was one of your friends actually was ones that were having trouble getting in. The plane was delayed and flights changed and all kinds of stuff. But once you got there and once you started laughing, all that kind of went away. You just kind of enjoyed it. And of course, I had we were taking the train. It was our first very long train ride here in Italy, and we had to change trains, and we got off one train. But we didn't realize that the numbers on the track changed, but the train hadn't left yet. We actually got on the wrong train, and there were people sitting on our seats. We're like, "Hey, what are you doing on our seats?" And so, long story short, we were on the wrong train. Now, thank God, it was only 30 minutes before the next stop because some of those trains will go for hours. Yeah. And so we just went down to 30 minutes and got off the train and went back and caught the right train, which took us about 3 hours later to get into Treste, but. We learned a valuable lesson. Check the number on the sign and check the number on the train.
Do they have maps in the train though? Isn't don't they have maps in the train? Because I know in New York on the subway.
When you're down on the platform, there's very little information here in Italy. And so when you're at certain train stations, so at the one we're at was a big transfer train. And so you get off, and then we walked around the corner, and we looked at the sign up top, and it was the correct train. But the train at the station hadn't left yet. It was delayed by a couple of minutes. And so we jumped on it, but there's a little sign on each one of the cars that has the train number, and that was different. And so that's how we realized we got on the wrong train. But yeah, it was fine. We went down 30 minutes, turned around. We ate lunch, we bought our tickets, and then went right back, and then we made it there. But it's like Lloyd said, Dad, double check the train numbers. Like, Lloyd, you can double check the train numbers too.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh at the situation or laugh at yourself,
Yeah, but even in when I was going through recovery or having issues and problems, there was times where I'd be laughing with my therapist over stuff as we were going through recovery. I mean, it was the sessions aren't always serious when you're going through therapy or talking with your life coach or your mental health coach or whoever you're talking to. There's times where you can laugh during that time. Not always so serious, but it's funny. Of course, you guys all know that I've been working in an Italian restaurant at Cane here, and I've been working in the kitchen, which I've loved. I didn't realize how hard a work it is, but how rewarding the work is, right?
Yes.
And I don't get paid. I volunteer there because they're not allowed to pay me. And I work 3 days, and those 3 days I'll work almost 80, 90 hours. But it's so rewarding, but it's funny because in the kitchen, nobody speaks English. And so, they're yelling at me to, do this, do that, do this. I have not a clue what they're talking about, but I memorize what's going on around me so I can kind of figure out, oh, well, he's asking for this, or they want that, or I got to do this, but it's plating the food. And so I've got a notebook now that I write everything in, both in English and Italian, because I figured they're going to teach Italian, I'm going to teach them English. And so when they tell me a word in Italian, I tell them the word in English. So we're doing that now, and so it's kind of funny. But Lalo, the main chef, he's just a funny guy, and he's always cracking jokes. And I just really want to learn Italian because they all start rolling laughing. I'm standing there like, I have no idea what, you can't ask somebody to Google translate a joke because it's not going to transfer right. Hey, Google translate this joke. But it's a lot of fun, and we figure it out. And Sundays, I don't work on Sundays there. Sunday's a long day for them because this last Saturday, we were slammed. And I didn't get home till like 2:30 in the morning, where they open up at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. So these people literally go home, sleep, in 8 hours, they're back in. And they're open from 10 o'clock in the morning till midnight, 1 o'clock. And then they're off on Mondays. And then they start up again on Tuesday. So they work a horrendous amount of hours all through the week. They don't make very much money. But I tell you what, if I could take this restaurant and all these workers and implant them in the U.S., anywhere in the United States, they'd all be millionaires. They're just how they cook the food and the authentic stuff and the fresh things they use, hands down, they'd all be. But that's kind of fun. But I enjoy it. And let me tell you what, they laugh at me a lot. And I know they're making fun of me, and I don't care because as much funny as it is for me is for them. When I make a mistake or something, or when they make a mistake, but we're all a team and we all work together. But Lynn, I introduced them to cornbread the other day.
Oh, they don't have that.
They don't have cornbread here.
Wow.
I asked them to Ana de Mas. They don't have it here, and so I made it in a cast iron skillet, just homemade and cast iron, baked in the oven. I took it in with sweet cornbread.
You put honey on top of it.
Yeah, and so I take it in, right, and they look at it like, I don't know about. And then they take these little bitty bites of it, and then it was like ravenous dogs, man. They're like, blah, 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 blah. It was funny. So then the chef and the sous chef Maria, they wanted the recipe, so I translated it in Italian and sent them the recipe. But it was kind of funny to watch them. So this was on Saturday I did it. And so Sunday, because it's such a long day for them, I baked them brownies. They like my brownies. I make chocolate brownies. And then I made another pan of cornbread and took in for them and gave them to them since it was such a long day on Sunday. So they appreciated it like that. So, it just makes me feel good to do something like that too. Because they are my coworkers, right? So we all hang out and eat dinner and stuff. But it's just a lot of funny. But it was so funny, Lynn, to watch them try the cornbread for the first time, and then they were just like, wow.
I love corn. I mean, it's a staple here. Cornbread is great. I like to drizzle honey on top of it, and then more butter on it.
They're sprinkling powdered sugar on top of it when they were eating it on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, sure, you can put that. You can put honey on it, whatever you want. Yeah, it's so good. So what I need to do now is they actually have they call it Mexico beans. That they make there. And I kept telling them that you need to eat it with the beans, but it never lasted that long. They just ate it all down. But now what I need to do on my next one is use bacon grease in the pan. Oh, jalapeno cheddar. That's good cornbread too, Chris. Chris the baker just threw that out there. So.
Oh yeah, the jalapeno cheddar. Oh yes, jalapeno cheddar cornbread. We make that too. We make that here, and still drizzle the honey and then put butter in it. Like, so good.
Did you get that little bit of spice? And that's I'm getting hungry now. I was doing just fine.
You need some good Southern food.
I know, right? So, I've been introducing them to American food, and so they always ask me, "What do you want me to cook next?" Because of course, I did the barbecue ribs and the beans, and they love that. Of course, I made homemade chili, and I did Frito pies 2 weeks ago for them. They never had Frito pie before, and I did it authentic. I grilled the jalapenos. I had the corn chips with the chili on top, with the cheese, with the sour cream, with the green onions, sprinkled on top, and then the grilled jalapenos. So I did it all up. So they like that. They never had that before. So it's kind of nice to introduce them to some authentic American food. But Laylo at night, we all sit together and we eat at the end of the night, no matter how late it is. He cooks one meal, and a lot of times we sit down, we eat together as a family, and I really like that. And he made meals that they don't serve in the restaurant, but they're typical authentic Italian meals that's here in Naples. And so we've had a couple of dishes like that, and they were just so good. And so it's kind of neat to kind of experience that culture that I would never have gotten had I not been working at the restaurant. So it's so fun to see. My first time eating grits was at Fort Benning boot camp. Yeah, I bet them grits were good. Fort Benning grits.
Okay, so I'm not Army or whatever. Where is Fort Benning?
Georgia.
Okay, in Georgia.
Yeah.
So Wayne says he ate grits for the first time in boot camp. Couldn't have dessert, so we poured the table sugar and syrup on the grits and made the soup of sugar grits until someone took care of that at the chow line, and they got smoked for hours on end until someone confessed. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
I can't imagine. I have a friend, and her name is Junie. I'm gonna try to get her on the show because she doesn't own anything, but she's a diver here in Florida, and she teaches free diving classes for veterans.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because she's Air Force, and she told me and my other friend, both Navy, she said, "Oh, guess what? In the Air Force boot camp, we get to have chocolate cake." And I was like, "What? You have desserts at boot camp? Like, this is like
we get surprise steak and lobster."
And then she was like, "Oh, and it's not called chow hall; it's called a dining facility." I'm like, "What?" So that sugar thing, it makes sense that they got smoked, Wayne, in boot camp. But yeah, sugar grits. I'm not a fan of sugar grits. I like to put cheese in my grits.
Yeah.
Wait, what did Chris say? He said we had them in Marine boot camp, but we weren't allowed to have them just look. I think we probably had them.
Yeah, that's how the Army was at basic training for Fort Leonard. You could see the desserts, but you weren't allowed to have them.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. I didn't even remember looking or having any desserts in boot camp. So
yeah, I remember. What was that in the MRE? There was like a hard pound cake or something in it that people would always mix that with the hot chocolate powder mix and make something with that. They'd stir it all up and add a little water in there and make it.
Well, Wayne said that people would buy people's other M&Ms from their MREs for $20 in the day. Desperate hard times.
It's probably what 10 M&Ms in there maybe.
And then, like, depending on what year it is, $20 back then went a long way.
Oh yeah.
So $20 for a pack of like little mini M&Ms. Like,
that's a lot of money.
That's how bad people wanted their sugar.
Yeah. Whoever thought that adding hot sauce to dog food would make it taste good, but that's pretty much what MRE is anyway. Yeah. I saw that on a post. I think VTT put it on a post or something. But
I don't even put sugar in my coffee. Like, if I drink coffee, I'm not really a coffee drinker like that. But if I was going to drink coffee, it would just be black. Like, I don't even put milk or sugar in it.
I drink my tea without sugar. I don't like sugar in my tea, but I'll drink sugar in my coffee.
Well, I like sweet tea though. Southern sweet tea.
Yeah.
That's delicious. I would do
that. I can't do it. Can't do it. My tea has no sugar, but I have sugar. I don't put a lot of sugar in my coffee, just a teaspoon, and I get the natural cane sugar out here. So
Chris says his father-in-law calls anything added to coffee pollutants. I agree. And the only time I'll have a fancy coffee is if I'll probably go to like Starbucks every once in a blue moon, and I'll get one of their espresso iced coffees. That's it. Other than that, I'm not, like, if I'm just going to drink regular coffee, it's going to be black.
That's funny. They have Starbucks here, but it's of course they do the traditional Italian coffee type, and of course they have the foo drinks. But I mean, when you go to the mall,
I'm sure they have really great espresso.
It's not super popular out here.
Yeah, I'm sure they have like great espresso in Italy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 And it's funny because at the restaurant they always make a cup of coffee, which is just a shot of espresso. And
Hmm. It's to help
every
you
now and then.
digest, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
meal.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Either that or grappa. You can have grappa or coffee. They'll ask you for either one. I kind of like in Germany when they offer you either Uzo or Jägermeister. It's a similar thing after a meal, but normally I get the grappa. I like the dark grappa. So.
Mm.
Mm, I gave Chris a bunch of grappa, so he has different kinds of grappa now. So grappa.
Sounds good.
Grappa's kind of like Jägermeister, though. You don't want to drink a
Is
lot of
it?
it.
I've never had it. Is it alcohol?
Grappa it's an alcohol, but it's made from the leftover grapes,
Ah,
and so it's
Italian
fermented and stuff.
brandy.
Yeah, Italian brandy. Yeah, and they have different versions of it. The main version is white, Blanco. Now I like the brown version, which is the aged in oak barrels and different things like that. And so I like the brown grappa more than I do the white grappa. But they're both still good. But it's like grain alcohol, but it's not made with grain. It's made with grapes. So it's a little bit different. The
Hmm.
alcohol content's not as strong. It's like at 40%. But I did get Antonio moonshine from 10th Mountain. And I gave him
Mm.
a jar of it. And he was like, that shit's it's too strong.
How
And
do you
so I
like the
told
white
him he's in the
lightning?
limoncello out of it. He
You
said
got
he
to taste
couldn't
a
drink
little
it.
bit of that white lightning.
Yeah, I told him you don't drink. Well, it's kind of my fault because I told him he should mix it with something. He drank it straight. It's kind of rough drinking moonshine
Oh,
straight.
okay. Get
Yeah,
him a
I
bottle
agree.
of Everclear. He thinks
Yeah.
that's too strong.
God, I remember in high school we used to take Everclear and grape juice and mix it together. Of course, now they have the purple passions, but back then they didn't have it.
Um,
And so
do they
we
even
mixed
still
it
sell
ourselves.
that in the stores here? Because I know I haven't seen it. No,
Uh,
100 proof
I don't
Everclear.
know. I don't know. We used to drink. Well, friends of mine made their own moonshine, but we used to drink Everclear and grape juice. But that was before they had the purple passion drinks. So this was the real straight up stuff. Man, we get completely schnockered and then go to school. It's crazy.
Chris says that he can get Everclear on base. He has a bottle right now. Like, no thanks. I'll pass on that. Thank you.
That should get them 190 proof of it. That would be funny. But hopefully, 10th Mountain will get on APs and then I
Oh,
can crack
cherry bomb.
APs. Oh, cherry bombs. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Okay. Maybe.
That's kind
Maybe.
of funny.
I'll think about cherry bombs.
Yeah, so cherries and Everclear eat the cherries. Yeah, no, those are nice. We went from cornbread to cherry bombs. See, it's a very productive show today. Lynn, how's your Jeep doing? How many ducks do you have? You have like 60 ducks by now, 70 ducks?
Well, I don't go anywhere, so
No.
I don't really get ducked. So I work from home, and then when I go places, I don't drive. My friends drive.
It is interesting. There's a couple people that, have moved in, and of course, they shipped their Jeep out here.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
Okay.
but the sad thing is people don't know, right? And so if you're coming to Italy and you have a big SUV, if you have a Jeep, don't bring it because other than driving on base and on the highway, you literally can't drive those vehicles anywhere inside of Italy. I mean, there are streets that my Toyota Yaris is almost too big to go down,
Yeah.
and they're two-way streets. I mean, it's straight up crazy. So if you're being stationed over here in Europe and you got big vehicles, do yourself a justice and either sell them. When we sold all vehicles, I sold my truck, my brand new truck I had that I fully customized.
Mhm.
Sold it, and of course the wife sold her Expedition. But you just can't drive them out here. And the people, man, it's sad that the people don't know. They ship these vehicles out here, and they sit on base for 3 months. But then if you got a Ford or a Chevy or Jeep and something breaks on it, nobody out here knows how to fix it, and he can't get parts. There's one guy's been waiting on a part for his Expedition for 3 months.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
ridiculous. I know I
Yeah.
couldn't bring my Jeep there because mine is lifted and fully customized with big old wheels, big tires.
Oh
Like
yeah.
my Jeep is redneck.
Well, I don't know. You guys don't remember my Chevy Colorado, the 2022. I mean, I ripped it, the suspension off and put the 4-inch, lift kit on it from BDS and
Mm-hmm.
had the big tires and stuff on it with their roll bar and everything. First of all, they would never have shipped it over here because it's too customized. But secondly, literally, I could maybe drive to Kenya for work and then around base, and that would be it. I couldn't drive it anywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had
But
friends that lived in Naples and they had mopeds to get around.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like little
Totally.
Vespas or whatever you call them. I don't know what they're called.
But they're very brave people to ride
Mhm.
mopeds around here. But if you live, I guess, in the downtown, of course, here at the sports site, we're kind of out in the country a little bit. But when you go down and farther into Naples, of course, it's a huge city. It's very populous. And it's really crazy down around there driving. Like I said, driving around here is like a coordinated ballet. It's the people that want to follow the yield signs, the stop signs that screw it all up. I don't stop at stop signs. I don't yield. I don't hesitate going into a traffic circle. When I pick people up at the airport and they have not been in Naples or Italy before, I hand them a drink and tell them to shut up and enjoy the ride because it's going to be a hell of a trip. Because going
That
in and out
close
of
your
Naples
eyes.
airport is straight up crazy
Mm-hmm.
to get in
Oh
and out of that airport, and because it's controlled chaos. It's not like in America we have the guards and it's all perfectly coordinated. It's just mass everybody in, mass everybody out.
Well, most of the countries that I've been to, that's what it seems like. It just seems like America is the only one that's coordinated, but then nobody knows how to drive.
Yeah,
Nobody uses their blinkers,
yeah.
no matter what state you're in. Like, there's always a slow person in the fast lane. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is a passing lane, But every other country I've been to, Mexico, I've been to India, Philippines, all those different places. Even in the Middle East, people drive crazy. So, yeah, it's just here in America where people are like that.
Yeah, and there's not, of course, in Italy, there's not a lot of stoplights. It's all traffic circles.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go in a traffic circle, don't hesitate, just jump right into it. Of course, driving in DC kind of, prepared me to drive out here, so I fit right in. It doesn't bother me one bit. Of course,
I call it a roundabout.
Do what?
I call it a roundabout.
Oh, roundabout, yeah, traffic circle roundabout, yeah.
Like, how different places say it a different way. Like, some people say shopping cart, and then over here we say buggy. Like, go get it. Do they call a shopping cart something different there?
I wonder what they call them here. I have to ask them. I don't know what they call the traffic circles here. I call them traffic circles, but I guess roundabouts are right. I remember when I went to Massachusetts for the first time, or Rhode Island, they'd have the signs for neighborhoods that said thickly settled. What the fuck does that mean, thickly settled? What the freak does that mean? Yeah, it means a whole bunch of people live in this neighborhood. Thickly settled. You'll see those street signs. Thickly settled.
Where?
Massachusetts.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep. I used to, a long time ago, I had a picture on my phone of it because I just got a kick out of it. It says thickly settled. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? But
settled there. No, just kidding.
I know, right? But hey, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I hope you had a couple of laughs. Lynn, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate you as being a co-host. Of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that's been affected by the hurricane, and please hang in there. Each day things will get better and your life will get back to at least as normal as it can be after a huge disaster. Along with that, you have the QR code up in the left-hand corner there for Reads Across America. You can just scan that, donate as little as $5 to ensure the wreaths are on the veterans, grave sites during the holiday season. Such a great program they do. They're having a big push for it. I think in a week or two, I want to be on the live show on Reads Across America Radio talking about the importance of doing buddy checks. There's Buddy Check Week coming up. And so I'm going to go on there and talk about the importance of that, along with all the other QR codes we have there. And Lane, why don't you talk to us about Veterans Trash Talk and all the great T-shirts and merch they have?
Well, tomorrow's the 1st, so somebody make sure to call Green Day and wake them up because September ends. Right. Okay. Everyone go on www.VeteranTrashTalk.com. You'll find all of our podcasts in there, and including our shop with the merch. Number one selling shirt right there. Cliff has it on. Fancy. And there is a QR code right there. Scan it right now. And
they got them on sale, $8 off.
It's almost a holiday season, so you can get your gifts early.
You know what? They make great Christmas gifts, and it's great to sit around and have all your political correct friends read the T-shirt and be offended by it, and then you have to tell them how silly they ought to be offended by a T-shirt.
Yeah,
I get that. I wear it to the gym sometimes, and the girl's like, "Oh, well, you can't really wear that shirt in here," and I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, because of what it says." It's like, it's just a T-shirt. Yeah. I said, "Are you triggered by this T-shirt? Do I need to talk to you? Do we need to have a talk?" And then she starts laughing about it because then you have to explain to her what it meant. It's just funny. Funny conversations you have wearing this T-shirt's hilarious. But at first, people always think political. It's not political. It's just
No.
don't be triggered by silly, stupid stuff. And
Right.
if words on a T-shirt are triggering you, got bigger problems. I'm just gonna say that right off the top. But what's funny is when I wear it, I have to explain it to the Italians what it means, and then after I explain to them what it means, then they think it's funny as heck.
Yeah.
So we need to make a version of this, but have it in Italian. I bet I could probably sell a buttload of them.
Definitely a conversation starter for sure.
I know, right? But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I know next week our show is going to be on Tuesday instead of Monday because Chris has to go play in a very important golf tournament, and that's okay because with podcasts, you can watch them at any time. But please remember that Reach Across America Radio does replay my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. Just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and search for Reach Across America Radio, where you can only see our program, Lynn and I, but also see all the other great programming they have. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Be safe, and our thoughts and prayers to everybody out there affected by the hurricane. Please take care.
What's up, Trash Talkers? What's up, Gruntworks Nation? How do you hire the right financial advisor? In this video, that's going to be somewhere up here when they put the QR code up there. Just scan it or go to our YouTube channel, all right, and you'll be able to download it. In that video, questions are asked and answered about finding the right financial advisor for you and your loved ones. What license do they hold? The crucial factor can provide you with a sense of security and confidence in your financial advisor. What is their experience? See if they have any written complaints in the disclosures. Why is it in your best interest to work with a fiduciary? This role is crucial as it ensures that your advisor working in your best interest, fostering trust and transparency in the advisor-client relationship. Understanding the advisor's process for developing your financial plan is also important. Do they conduct a thorough financial assessment, discuss your goals, and then create a personalized plan? This insight can give you a clear picture of their approach and thoroughness. Find out how to do your own research and security representatives. Illustrating their complaint record, licenses held, time in profession, and more. If you haven't been watching, we have done 2 of a 3-part series with Army veteran Ken. All right, again, go to that QR code right there. If it's not there, it was there earlier, or go to our YouTube channel, and we will give you all the financial advice that you need, also help you find the right financial advisor. Stay tuned. Check out for the events for our 3rd of the 3-part series coming